Okay, let me do one more. I'll save the Andrew Tate story till tomorrow. I'll just save the Andrew Tate because that's not like a time-sensitive like story or anything. So we'll wrap it up with this one today because this is a pretty long stream with a speech on there. Rotten Tomatoes removes scores to avoid review bombing. Here's what's interesting about this. That also removes the opportunity for them to get a bunch of 10 movie scores on a bad movie. So, for example, if you look at The Acolyte, just as an example, yes, it wasn't review bombing. A lot of people went in and say, this is crap. I give it a 1 or a 2. But they also had a bunch of people, and I don't know if they were hired. I don't know if they're weirdo lefties that just want to pump up weird Disney. They also got a lot of 10s on the program. And I watched it. I'd say probably a 3 or 4 is pretty darn accurate. A 10 is not accurate, though. But that kind of counterbalances the review bombing. So when you get rid of the review bombers, you also get rid of the people that were giving it a 10 out of 10 and it didn't deserve it. So this is a blade that cuts both ways. This is from Screen Rant. Rotten Tomatoes' new audience score explained popcorn meter and verified hot ratings. Hey, you know something? When something works, like Rotten Tomatoes used to work, you leave it alone. But what they did is they said, okay, only verified people. Okay, only this. Oh, we're going to remove a bunch of things that are critical of Amazon. We're going to fix this. You can buy reviews. It's all about keeping the money machine going. If they were actually honest instead of a dishonest broker, they wouldn't have to keep fixing it. But they have to keep fixing it because people are allowed to tell the truth, and it's costing Hollywood and these woke idiots money. So they have to stop remember, it's not disinformation, it's not misinformation. It's trying to let the truth go through. And that's what they're trying to do with every one of these changes. That's why for reviews now, I used to go and look at Rotten Tomatoes. I used to read movie reviews there. Everything changed about a decade ago, and then I stopped using them. And now they're a joke. Now, even Metacritic's not great. Now, more often, what I do is I go find some YouTubers that I have agreement with on their past assessments, whether you want to say Nerdrotic or Heels versus Babyface. I'm just trying to remember some of the ones. Heels versus Babyface or Nerdrotic or The Critical Drinker or even Jeremy over at The Quartering. What's the other one? Clownfish TV. There's lots of other people that are like you and I, just people on the internet talking to a camera, whatever, and they say, here's what I think. And then I find I'm in agreement with them. So now a lot of people are avoiding Metacritic, avoiding Rotten Tomatoes because they lie. They go to Geeks versus Gamers. You know, they go to people that they say, I agree with these people in the past. I'm going to watch what they think about this. And now, even if there's a bad something out like The Acolyte or the latest woke Star Wars or whatever, instead of watching that and being disappointed, people now turn on YouTube and Rumble and they watch other people roasting those things. And they're getting enjoyment out of watching other people tell you how bad those things are because they're making fun of it. That's where entertainment's going. And the people on YouTube are free, or $5 or $10 a month if you have premium on YouTube or you have premium on Rumble. You say, well, that's a lot cheaper than going to watch a bad movie, and I get more enjoyment out of it. So no matter what they do here on Rotten Tomatoes, it's not going to help the movie industry. It's not even going to help Rotten Tomatoes because fewer people will go to their website to check on it. They say Rotten Tomatoes audience scores have now become part of the popcorn meter. Audience scores of 90% and above that meet certain criteria can earn movies verified hot badges on the review aggregator site. Movies that are already verified hot include Deadpool and Wolverine, Wonka, and Twisters. I haven't heard much good about Wonka, if I'm to be honest. What is Wonka on? Let's see what Wonka is on. Let's see what Wonka is over on Metacritic. The 64 critic reviews, 66. User reviews, 5.9. So now a 5.9 by user reviews. If you go to Rotten Tomatoes, it's verified hot, which means 90% or better. So a Metacritic score of 66 by viewers equals 90% on Rotten Tomatoes now is verified hot. Do you see the problem already? They gave 3 examples, and one of which we just saw is a lie. Rotten Tomatoes is just like almost all media. It's too much about the money. It's too much about getting those palms greased by Hollywood and Amazon and Netflix and Disney and the rest of them. Hey, here's some money. Lie to the people. Tell them it's good. And all it takes is one person to go watch that, and then they do a video on YouTube and or Rumble, and they say it sucks. Don't bother. These sites, instead of being propped up by people that want to read the reviews, they're propped up by Hollywood. They say Rotten Tomatoes has implemented a huge change by adding the popcorn meter and verified hot badge. The review aggregator website has become a go-to. No, it's not. It used to be a go-to resource for assessing the critical reception to movies and television shows since its inception in 1998. The site compiles official critics' reviews into a single percentage-based score to determine if a movie is fresh, 60% or above, rotten, 60% or below, on the tomato meter with certain titles that match specific criteria, and maintain a score above 75. However, the audience score has also become a bigger and bigger part of the Rotten Tomatoes brand. Because the score is based on user reviews, it's intended to reflect what the general public thinks of the title in question, though the score in the past has been subject to review bombing, generally for politically motivated reasons, especially for franchise titles with diverse casts such as Captain Marvel and Disney's The Acolyte. There's everything you need to know right there in one sentence. People didn't review bomb because Captain Marvel had a diverse cast. Do you know what other movies had a woman at the helm? Aliens. I'm trying to remember some of the other really big movies that I like that had female leads, because there are several. Alita Battle Angel. There's like one out of left field. Alita Battle Angel that had a female lead in it. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Has nothing to do with female lead. It has to do with it was a movie. What about Disney Plus The Acolyte? It was horrible. It was universally panned by everyone for the writing. Mostly for the writing, for the acting too. But they're going to say, oh, it's because brown people were involved. No, I don't think so. We know that's a lie. But that's the excuse that Disney uses to cover their crap writing, their crap products. So now they're going to say it's politically motivated. So we need to get rid of user reviews. Now you have to buy a ticket through Fandango to prove you went to the movie. Okay, how does that fix The Acolyte? How does that fix other streaming programs? Are you going to check and make sure someone actually owns Disney, or has a Disney Plus? Well, they're going to find out quickly that doesn't help. They say to combat this, Rotten Tomatoes has implemented a review verification system to confirm that reviewers have purchased tickets for movies being reviewed through Fandango. Okay, so now the review bombs that are negative go away, the review bombs that were positive go away, and what do you have in the meantime? Same score as you had before. It's still going to be bad. This isn't going to fix their problem. They're trying to buy their way out of making bad crap that nobody likes. They say recently there have been some television shows that showcased contrasting scores from critics and audiences. One major element of the site's major overhaul of its audience score system is rebranding its user reviews section as the popcorn meter. This newly retitled metric will complement the critical score, which remains known as the tomato meter, a move which seems to symbolically give the audience score a more equal standing with the critic score rating. However, this involves much more than just renaming the metric, as it's the biggest major change to the system since the introduction of the Rotten Tomatoes verified audience score, which was done for people crapping on bad Hollywood movies and them saying, oh, this is review brigading. This is review bombing. And it wasn't, and they changed it, and they still get crappy scores. So no matter how much you try to doctor this, it's still going to suck. They say the rebrand of the popcorn meter also comes with a complete overhaul of how the audience score is tabulated. Although the line separating the fresh from the rotten will remain at 60%, a user review will be deemed positive if it is 3.5 stars out of 5 or higher, meaning that a movie with predominantly 3-star reviews would ultimately be deemed rotten. The popcorn meter score will also not debut on the platform until it has reached a minimum threshold of reviews determined by the movie's projected box office performance. So, if a projected domestic box office has $120 million plus in box office, you would need 500 popcorn meter verified review threshold of 500, and the average number of audience reviews would have to be 13,000 reviews for it to be shown. So the average number of audience reviews would have to be 13,000 even to show an audience review on the movie, I'm guessing. So if it makes 60 to 100 million, the average number of audience reviews has to be 4,000 reviews And the popcorn meter verified review threshold, I guess, is 300. I'm not quite sure what this means. But it sounds to me like they're saying, all right, if the box office hits X amount of views, you must have the average, this number of audience reviews to make the ratings of the movie be shown. So let's say $120 million, 15,000 people show up. They all rate it as a 5 out of 10, which would be a 50%. Then you'll show the score. But if they only get 10,000 reviews for a $120 million plus movie, then they don't show the score? That's what it sounds like to me. Here's the problem with that. Everybody has to go through Fandango for it to count, which means if you don't buy your ticket through Fandango and you just walk up to the movie, if you buy it through some other means, whatever, that's not Fandango, you don't count as having officially seen the movie. Also, what if the scores are really panned and they're bad? Who says they won't just start deleting reviews until the number of audience reviews isn't enough to show a score? This just gives them more ways to doctor the system. And you know what? People know this. So now when you go watch some of these YouTubers that use these scores to rate and have a laugh at the company's bombing, they'll stop using Rotten Tomatoes. They'll just use Rotten Tomatoes score for what the critics say, and then they'll go to Metacritic or another site to show what the audience says. We will find a way around this. You cannot hide your bad movies and your stupidity. You can't hide it from us. We will find a way to talk about it. Trust me on that. I don't see a thing for streaming. That's what really people care about. I see nothing for streaming in this article. What are they going to do about streaming? That's what I'm curious about. How are they going to sell people into buying the crap of streaming pile of steaming crap? That's the real question.